Hi, I'm Adam Fedyski, Youth Education Volunteer Coordinator with the Colorado Mountain Club, here to help you learn the 7 principles of Leave No Trace using some hand signals so that you can remember them when you're out exploring. So to start off, put up a 1 on one hand, pull out your other hand, treat it like a notepad, and write on it. You're going to plan ahead and prepare. And this means looking into the place you're going ahead of time, looking at the weather, also letting somebody know where you're planning to go, what you're doing, all of that. Someone who's not going with you who can check in just in case later on. You also want to make sure you're bringing the 10 essentials with you because it is Colorado. The weather changes, your plans could change as well. You have to plan for the unexpected. Principle number 2 is to travel and camp on durable surfaces. So take out a 2 on one hand, put your arm out, and treat it like a trail that you are walking on. So durable surfaces could be a trail, could be rocks, just anything that's not going to get affected by you traveling on or camping on it. Also, when you're not walking on durable surfaces, make sure that you are trying to spread out your impact, not just walking the same path back and forth, so that we don't create what's called a social trail. If you do spot some mud in the middle of your trail or a puddle, it's always better to walk through it, because walking around it is going to start widening the trail, killing off the plants that are growing along the edge of it. For principle number 3, put up 3 fingers on your hand. What letter does that look like? A W? That's right. You want to make sure you're disposing of waste properly. You could also think of this as turning into a shovel and perhaps digging a hole, because you want to make sure you're not leaving trash behind when you go out exploring in nature. But also, waste includes human waste too. Yeah, human waste is a thing that happens. So if you end up in a situation where you got to go number 2 out there, you're going to want to dig a cat hole to make sure that it's not left out in the woods. And you want to make sure that is at least 6 inches deep. So if you do this with your hand, that distance from there to there is around 6 inches. Make sure you plan ahead in time for that. Also, if you're going to the restroom or you're washing dishes while camping, make sure you're at least 200 feet away from a water source. This makes sure that the impact of what you might be doing is not going to make it into the waterway. It has time to get filtered out. And yeah, just pack it in, pack it out is the saying that we often use. For our 4th principle, we're going to leave what you find. So put up an L on each hand, turn them around to make a rectangle, and imagine you're taking a picture of something. You want to make sure that you're not taking out anything from nature that you didn't go in there with. And so you might have heard the phrase, take only pictures, leave only footprints. That includes anything like a cool rock or a leaf, because those things could be part of an animal's home or their food supply as well. And also, this goes for human artifacts. So if you were to see something like an arrowhead or an old tin can, maybe at an old mining camp, those are things we want to leave there so that they can help tell the story of the human history that happened in that place where you're exploring. Principle number 5 of Leave No Trace is to minimize campfire impacts. So put up those 5 fingers on your hand, turn them upside down, and pretend like they're flames of a fire. So obviously we don't want to be setting the woods on fire. So if you are having a campfire somewhere, make sure it is in an established fire ring or on top of a fire pan, which is like a sheet of metal that you could actually build the fire on top of. When you're done with the fire, you have to make sure that it is totally put out. We then don't want to set the woods on fire. So make sure that it is cool to the touch, either put out with water or sand, but you should be able to actually touch it to make sure there's no smoldering flames underneath there. When you're done with all of that and it's cooled off, you want to trash your ash. So either pack it out with you with your other trash, or you can also just scatter it in the woods so that it's not creating a large impact in one spot. Last but not least, make sure you're checking about fire bans before you decide to have a campfire somewhere. Right. Principle number 6 of Leave No Trace is to respect wildlife. So put up 3 fingers on each hand and pretend like there's some antlers on your head. So we want to make sure that we are giving wildlife space. After all, we are exploring in their home. A good way to do this is to use what we call the rule of thumb. So you put up your thumb, hold out your arm at length, close one eye, and put it up like that. If you can totally cover the animal with your thumb, that means you're far enough away from it. If you can't, it means you need to give them a little bit more space. So something like a bird is not going to require as much space as, say, an elk. Also, we want to make sure that we are not leaving any food behind or purposely feeding animals, because if animals eat our food, not only could they become sick from it, but they may also become dependent on people for their food source, making them either aggressive towards people or just unable to provide for themselves. Last but not least, principle number 7 of Leave No Trace is to be kind to other visitors. So put up a peace sign on one hand and your 5 fingers on the other, like you're waving. So this reminds us to be able to keep the peace with other people and also be friendly to them. That means you may want to greet other visitors as you're on the trail, but also being courteous of them, remembering that people like to go out in nature sometimes for solitude, sometimes they do it for camaraderie, but whatever the reason people are out there, we don't want to be blasting music or yelling at the top of our lungs, impacting that relationship that they may have with nature. Also, if someone is approaching you on the trail, it is good courtesy to be able to yield and kind of step to the side of the trail. If you need to take a break from hiking, or you just need to get away from the trail for a little bit, make sure that you're not doing it right in the middle of the trail. Take a little bit of a break off and get onto a durable surface, maybe a rock or some other established spot that is not right in the middle of it. So those are the 7 principles of Leave No Trace, along with the hand signals and a little bit about what they mean. Be sure to think about all of those, plan ahead and prepare before you're going on your next nature excursion. Thank you for supporting the Colorado Mountain Club, and we hope to see you out there soon.